أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. As I was saying just before this, that we are going to start a new series on taqwa. And in the beginning, I may submit again, as I try to remind every time, that you know more and better than me. You have more information. The information which I bring before you is not as much as you have, but I don't repeat. I try my best not to repeat what you already have. I just try to bring before you the new aspects of thinking or research on that subject, not only from my side, but what is going on in the world. It's a big claim, but it's in fact, I cannot reach the entire world, but whatever little I have been or I can possibly get from the research taking place in the world, out of that, even a drop from the ocean, I try to pick up and collect, collate, and place before you. And I have been reminding that it is not in substitution of what you already have. It is not in substitution. It is just, say, a new angle or a new aspect or just an add-on to that, but it is not in substitution. And whatever view you have, I'm not going, not in the effort of uh, converting people, that just to place before you that this is what I have seen from this angle, and how the world is also thinking some aspects, a little drop from the ocean, what they are thinking about it, what other people are thinking about it. So today's topic, taqwa, it is a very big topic, which I think I'm not able to properly place all the aspects of this topic before you. During the month of Ramadan, every day for about 15 days, I delivered, Allah helped me, and He arranged it in such a way that I delivered this lecture continuously for 15 days during the last month of Ramadan to the Hikmat-e-Quran Institute in Pakistan. And they used to connect from different places, about from 4 places they used to connect on computer, and then at each place they used to project it on the screen, as you are doing in MRC. But now I've condensed it in a much smaller form. It will be a repetition for brother Abdul Razak Ismail, who is alhamdulillah present today also. He has been regularly attending all those lectures during the entire Ramadan. So for him, it's a repetition. So I apologize to him. But he was very helpful, and he has always been very helpful to me in organizing, in conducting, in making it possible for me to conduct these lectures. So Alhamdulillah, he's also here. I may, in the beginning, just place before you that what and how I'm going to discuss with you. First of all, it is from Quran, and at the end, when we conclude, we'll again come back to the Quran. These slides, which I'm showing now, in fact, I'll discuss at the end, but I'm just telling you that what is the arrangement of the discussion, so that I have seen that during the course of discussion, people jump the gun all of a sudden, immediately, without waiting for the conclusion that what I'm going to say. So kindly don't jump at it. Whatever view you have, I respect it. But if you allow me, I may just submit before you that how I feel about it. These are some ayat of Quran which I have arranged in blocks, which I'll present in blocks at the end when we get time. These are some of the ayat, not all, but I'm just telling you that I have arranged them in blocks. So each block is in fact a different aspect which is explained by taqwa, or this block explains taqwa. There are different blocks, tartil of ayat, in which I have tried to understand, from which I have tried to understand taqwa. And when, as I said, that when I draw a point from Quran, and many points emerge, when then I take those points, I go to philosophy, I go to history, I go to science, different aspects of science. For example, if I see this, just an example, I see that in this block, in this tartil, there is an aspect of neurology. I go to neurology. In some aspect, for example, here I feel it pertains to history. I go to history. For example, here I think it goes to psychology. I go to psychology. Then I collect all that material, collate it, precise it, and then after that, then I formulate a certain view on that. When a certain point has been formulated, then I again come back to the Quran to re-verify that whatever I had drawn from Quran, whether I have been able to present it from these from the modern information, from the scientific information, which is nowadays available in the 21st century, and whether I should present before you. So, for example, these are the ayat, and then I will also present in these from the point of view, the way I have now seen after collecting these points, for example, in different branches of ilm, different branches of sciences. For example, these aspects, then I will go into, and I presented before you, these are different aspects. I'm just running through so that you know that what we are going to what we are going to discuss. At certain points, it will be evolution. At certain points, it will be psychology. It will be neurology. There will be so many aspects that will be coming up. I'm just running through. And then it's not only that I will look into this purely and separately in a watertight compartment from those modern sciences, but simultaneously I try to collate with Quran, that what the Quran has said on this point. And now this is the classical view. How our different mufassirin, our scholars, our translators, they have presented this. These are just, this may be just one sentence, but it is from one scholar, another sentence from another scholar. So this is all collection from, you will find maybe 100 people I brought before you, say about 50 people, 30 people, or even 20 people, or even lesser. Now then, what the different jurists say about it, what different religions say about it, what are the technical aspects, so many other. Then from here the science will start. We'll be discussing sciences about this. So in this way, and this has been my method, I've always been submitting that I am trying to place before you the methodology. I'm not trying to convince you. You conduct your own research, form your own opinion, but I'm just presenting before you the methodology. This has always been my point, but in spite of that, I find that sometimes people just, jump over it. These are different aspects scientifically, which I have been able to see in this. And again, we'll come back to Quran, we'll come back to ayat, and then we'll conclude with ayat. Now, these are different aspects. I think I've just given the plan that how I will proceed. So I'm going back, and for this ayat, I have mentioned that these are in groups, and I will come back to these ayat. that just I've exposed before you. I think I would like to start from somewhere where I don't repeat. You already know these things. Now, what is taqwa? Generally speaking, technically speaking, as we present in our the mainstream view about taqwa in our literature, taqwa, we usually, whenever the discussion starts, we refer to certain ayat which are very popular, very common, and most of the people refer to them. For example, that Quran is the hidayat for muttaqeen. So we try to define taqwa with reference to the ayat number 2 or 3 of Surah Al-Baqarah. But this is one ayat which we repeat every time, almost every time, in every khutbah. And at the time of nikah also, we repeat this in the khutbah, Hakka tuqatihi. So what is Hakka tuqatihi? In fact, this is the phrase in the Quran about taqwa, which led me to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's not a one day's work. I had been working on this for, I can may not say years, but a very long time. But this is the ayat which prompted me. What is Hakka tuqatihi? What is the right of Allah's taqwa? What is the haqq of Allah's taqwa? And are we properly performing, discharging our duty in this respect? What is the haqq tuqatihi? Now, this will be the center point, and which compelled me to go deeper. This brought me, now I have collected this, that it depends upon consciousness. The starting point is consciousness. Before giving the highest modules of consciousness to Adam alayhi salam, other animals in the entire animal world was present. Even the Homo sapiens were present. But their level of consciousness was not yet as much where the human being at that time, he did not have the capacity to receive, to learn all those things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to reveal as ilm. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala added features upon features, add-ons upon add-ons, upgraded Adam alayhi salam, and he gave him all those features. And then with those features, he himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, taught him. Allama Adam. It was possible only because the moral, the conscious evolution, the evolution which brought consciousness to the human being, that was brought to that level that he was able to receive it, consciousness. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran that the dead and the living are not equal. So what is the difference between the dead and the living? One has shaur, the other doesn't have shaur. One has life, the other may not have the life. And there are so many comparisons which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given that animal and human being are not the same. Dead and living are not the same. So the main difference is the consciousness. And the consciousness, the sciences tell us, is a separate, distinct, continuous process of evolution. When the human being, the human evolution was brought to a certain level, after that, this was started. So what it comprises? Consciousness. We say that we are conscious. So from here, I pick up only 3 threads of the meaning of taqwa. There are different shades of meaning. I'll show those also. I will show those aspects also, but during this discussion, I'll be concentrating only on three threads. And out of these three, mainly on two. One is consciousness, which we usually translate the taqwa means consciousness, and somebody has translated that consciousness, that you will find that in every ayat in Quran, they will translate it as consciousness. At every place, it does not mean consciousness. Another thread, which I'll mainly be concentrating on, is pakizgi, piety, piousness. So one is consciousness, the other is piety. These are two threads on which I'll be concentrating. These, and but usually you will see that in our translations, if somebody has translated it as piety, as pakizgi, they just continue on with that. They continue with that. At every ayat, in every ayat, it may have a different meaning. And the third aspect of taqwa is fear, but it is not the fear as we understand in English. English word fear does not properly translate the meaning of taqwa as fear, or consciousness, piety, all these together. Consciousness, piety, and the fear. Fear as awe. Of these three things, I'll be concentrating, but I will leave the other aspects of other shades of meaning. And again, I submit, this is not in substitution. This is just an add-on and effort that from this angle, I am seeing these aspects are shades of meaning. Consciousness requires connectivity. And connectivity, for example, your computer may become conscious just by plugging in, turning it on, but when its connectivity, Wi-Fi is a different matter, which connects it to the cosmos, it connects it to the satellite, it connects it to the world. Similarly, every human being may be conscious. He is more conscious than the animal, but his connectivity with the divine, the connectivity with God, the connectivity with the Creator, that makes the whole difference. The whole transcendent world then opens up. So in taqwa, consciousness is God-given. And then connectivity, it also requires effort. Connectivity may be also from Allah as tawfiq, but at the same time, it requires effort also. Some people try to explain this connectivity as awareness, Bakhabri in Urdu, but there are different levels of awareness. I'm not going into those details of awareness, but this connectivity, when we translate it, we are trying to discuss through the translated words. Now, we are entering into discussion of the translated words of which convey different shades of meanings of taqwa. So different levels of awareness. But these two things, in fact, right from consciousness, when we add these two elements, it requires intelligence, zihanat. It requires intelligence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want the human being, his person, his personality to remain dumb. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling all the time, most of the time, that don't be dumb. Don't close your eyes. Don't close your ears. Don't fall even on my ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like a blind man. Open your eyes. Use your intelligence. So this, along with connectivity, Quran is requiring intelligence. And these are components which go to make up consciousness. Not only this, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking that for the input which you have to utilize with intelligence, you have to open your eyes. You have to open your samat. If you close your eyes, if you don't open up your ears, you remain dumb, then you will not be able to get the input, get the data. You will not be able to observe the universe, collect the information, and then utilize that. These aspects we'll discuss how then this entire scientific process has been connected when Adam was being upgraded, that he was given all these capabilities. Then why this thing, what intelligence requires? When input is taken, then it is able to compile and collate. And where it is done, it is the fawad, samat and basarat. Usually they have been mentioned in the Quran along with fawad. Use them, basarat, input through your ears, input through your five senses, physical senses, which has been taken. Now utilize that input with your fawad. This is part of your intelligence. And then once you have compiled, collated this information, then make it presentable. Process it as you do. For example, you get lot of input, you compile it, you collate it, and then you process it. And like Allama Yusuf Habib, you present it as a presentation. So this part, this work is done by the qalb. What the qalb means that the device which is shuffling the information. The main function of the qalb is to shuffle the blood up and down. It shuffles the information. When the input is taken, that input is compiled, collated, a compendium is created, compendium of information that is processed, and it is presentable, made presentable in an organized manner, in paragraphs, in charts. So when that presentation is made by the qalb, it is presented to the sadr. Sadr is these are not my words. I've just borrowed these words from many researchers and then placed here. Sadr is considered to be the center place of intelligence, where the wisdom lies. Then the Sadr considers that information, makes a judgment, takes a decision, because it is the center place of intelligence, Sadr. So from the five senses, it is collected, when it is the information received, it is compiled, then it is presented, and then now the Sadr takes the decision. How it takes the decision? Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran mentions these words. And all these things together go to make the intelligence. And in order to provide intelligence to Adam, so many modules were evolved. For Sabaituhu, when these were developed and he was made perfect, he was made to appear before the angels, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presented Adam to display his capabilities, his abilities, and these things go to constitute, they contribute tafakkur, tawakkul, tadabbur, tazakkur. This is the sequence, this is the chart, this is the way the consciousness utilizes them, starting from connectivity. Now the matter does not stop here. The main difference of the consciousness, every animal is conscious. Human being is also conscious. So what is the difference? There's a difference of degrees, in intelligence, and then in every aspect which we have discussed. Then there is a difference in the social intelligence also. Honeybee, it has social intelligence. Ants, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells they have social intelligence. They live together. Adam means the creature who's able to live together, who are able to live together. So Adam has been given the highest level of social intelligence among all the creatures. Today, the science has is achieving, rather, is still marveling in the field of artificial intelligence, but we are still lacking social intelligence. We have not been able to evolve it. This social intelligence then comprises what? We just say social intelligence. Social intelligence is not, it's not just one word. It has so many aspects. Sapiens is part of social intelligence. Sentience is part of social intelligence. But again, sapiens is not just one word. Sapiens includes all these things, which I'm highlighting here. And again, sentience also includes so many other things. We'll see that. But all these things together, social intelligence is one of the major components of human evolution. It's not only the physical evolution, that his limbs or his body or his brain or his skull was evolved, but the social intelligence was also evolved on the timeline of history. But these are the things which we are not going into detail, but I've just placed before you that social intelligence is one of the greatest gifts of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which He has given to human beings. If there was no social intelligence, there will be no compassion, no rahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is rahim. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, says that adopt the Asma'ul Husna of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot adopt that aspect of rahim, which is compassion, if there was no social intelligence. Israel is using artificial intelligence in killing people, Palestinians. And it is on the basis of artificial intelligence. The data they use in their telephone, that is analyzed by the artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence gives the target. It is connected to the gun, and the gun fires at that person, whether he's in a car, in a room, in a house, or anywhere. They are using artificial intelligence. But if they use social intelligence, it will consider, so it will have compassion, it will think so many times. Is there a child? The international law does not allow me to kill a child. Is there a woman? Are they armless? Is she pregnant? Are there old people? Are there sick people? This is the part of social intelligence. And today we are seeing live streaming of artificial intelligence being used in war and the battlefield. Social intelligence is a great gift of God, and the wisdom, we say that this is wisdom, hikmat, that also uses this part of social intelligence, this part of intelligence. So there are so many other aspects. I'm leaving all those things, but for example, hikmat, it depends upon this. Then, along with intelligence, and then with this social intelligence is also part of intelligence, but along with intelligence, this cognition, idrak, wama adrak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking, you are conscious, you are a human being, you have the highest level of consciousness, and you are intelligent also. Abu Jahl was intelligent, Abu Sufyan was intelligent, Abu Lahab was intelligent, but do they have the idrak, cognition? The police officer says that he's intelligent, and he has also cognition. He has the information. What is the crime rate in his jurisdiction? But is he using, how is he using it? Then the cognition further, idrak, further depends. These are all parts of taqwa. I will then compose them and place before you. We are lacking in idrak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking himself, are you attentive? Do you listen to me? Don't come to talk to me when you are sukara. You are not able to understand your own word. Talk to me when you understand your own word, when you are attentive. So this cognition then again includes so many other aspects. Human being is super. It is supreme in the animal world. Ashraful makhluqa. It's not just because one aspect. There are aspects within aspects, angles within angles, layers within layers. And these have been evolved. Cognition, it depends upon attention. How much you are attentive, how much ear you give to your God, how much you listen to Him attentively. We say, I forget in which rakat I am. I'm reading Quran in tilawat in Quran, but I forget. I'm listening, the Qari is reciting, but I'm not following. I'm not attentive. Cognition requires attention. These are all parts of, they all go together to make taqwa, and that is when it is done properly, perfectly, and they all comprise together to perform the haqq of taqwa. This is just a small part of it. I'm not going into so many details. I've condensed it. It is a very small presentation from my point of view. Attention, it includes attention, then introspection. Khud nagri. It is a very big subject, introspection, zikr. You look into your own self. You retrieve from your own memory. You retrieve from your own DNA. Information right from Adam alayhi salam is given to every DNA in every human being. It's a matter of introspection. Quran does not require any PhD degree. It may help in understanding, but the basic requirement understanding Quran is introspection, thinking, tafakkur, tazakkur. Think into it. In Urdu, you say, ghaur kare, khud nagri. Look into your own self, introspection. Allah has given everything within. He is within. Yahulu bainal mar'i wa qalbihi. He is nearer than one's own thinking process, one's own sadr, which you have mentioned, one's own qalb, which you have mentioned, one's own fawad, which you have mentioned. He's within. Transcendence is within. Transcendence is not outside. It is within. It's introspection. It is part of cognition. And then perception. Although the Urdu translations here, I've let them remain there because my lecture in Pakistan was in Urdu. That's why these later some translations are still there appearing. Perception. We cannot feel God. We cannot feel the transcendence. We cannot touch it. With our five senses, we cannot feel it. It is a perception. What is my perception of God? What is my perception of transcendence? And within. Attention, introspection, perception, but they will not work if one remains jahil. Jahulan zaluma, zaluman jahula. At that time, he had the intelligence. He had social intelligence. But this requires learning. That is, human being has to acquire knowledge. When we start acquiring knowledge, we try learning, then other processes also add on it. Alqa, ilham, wahi, and then certain other aspects of ilm. And the ilm will go on unfolding. It will go on increasing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this himself. Allama Adam. And he taught Adam himself. He was a teacher himself. This is the greatest blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on human being, that he taught himself. And what he taught? Kulliyatan. Every aspect. Deeper, broader, vertical, horizontal, in every manner, the kullan, the kulliyatan, kulla, ha. kulliyan of every asma. What is ism? We have discussed it. Ism is the package of information. All the packages of information were taught to Adam alayhi salam, given to Adam alayhi salam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's method, when the creator uses it, when the manufacturer makes the car, makes the smartphone to learn, he puts it into the features, installs those softwares. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala installed everything along with the dictionary. Your computer has a dictionary. Along with the encyclopedia, your internet has the chat GPT has the encyclopedia, different types of encyclopedia also. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed the kulliyatan, the kull of the ilm, of ism, all packages of information. And then all these together, they contribute to taqwa. All these aspects which you have discussed, right from here. And when one is conscious, if the human being is not just dead like an animal, or he's not dumb like an animal, he has the connectivity, then he has the intelligence, and then he uses all these aspects of intelligence and cognition, and then he learns also. Ikra, ikra, and how? Bi-ismi rabbika. And what? He has created, his creation, his evolution, his upgradation, his processes of nazal, his processes of jal, and all these together, all these components together, they contribute to taqwa, and then only one will be able to, in fact, do the haqqa tuqati. Not just one thing. Oh, yes, I went to masjid, I offered namaz with jamaat, and I have performed it, and I'm now muttaqi. It does not perform the haqq tuqati. Were you attentive? Was I attentive? Was I learning? Was I introspecting? So many things. And then, what is the main function? Why haqq tuqati cannot be performed? Unless there is an intentional behavior. If the taqwa does not shape the intentional behavior, for example, is part of information propaganda. It is part of canvassing. You create awareness. Then you go into next field, that is advocacy. And why do you bring this? You tell people, you make the propaganda, you give the information to make a behavioral change through information. Now, if this behavioral change is not made, then haqqa tuqati is not complete. And the behavioral change cannot be merely or solely, or it cannot just be induced. It has to be intentional. Amantu billah without ikrah. Intentional. I want it. I'm attentive. It's my intention to have iman, to believe it. Haqqa tuqati will then be possible. It is intentional behavioral change, and it shapes the behavioral change. It creates a Muslim, it creates a moment, and it's not only just individual behavior. Personal is a character, and collectively it is culture. And at the advanced level, it is civilization. So this is what the Haqqa Tuqati wanted, Quran wanted, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted. If you want to do the haqq of my taqwa, if you are really conscious of me, then you have to change your person, character, intentional, behavioral change. And that must change your culture. And once you change the group culture, then it must make you ummatan wasatan, most moderate civil society that will then climb the higher levels of civilization. With this, I stop here. Allah willing, and if you want, we'll inshallah continue next time from here. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzat amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فاتبعون أحسنه. اللهم بفضلك ورحمتك أعلي كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وعز المسلمين يا أكرم الأكرمين. Oh Allah, spread your mercy upon us, shower us with your blessings, increase our knowledge, grant us forgiveness, and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. Oh Allah, make their graves guarded from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, we have many of our friends and relatives who are sick. Oh Allah, we have our daughter Aishawani, our son Ma'raj. Oh Allah, grant all of them full and speedy recovery. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them, and make them righteous. Oh Allah, we have many of our brethren in Palestine, in Sudan, in many parts of the world who are suffering from barbaric enemies, unjust world, and complacent Muslim nations. Oh Allah, grant them victory, heal their trauma, protect their helpless. Oh Allah, remove their suffering and grant them peace and prosperity. Oh Allah, we ask you every name you have elected for yourself, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. وآخر دعوان والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.